Good morning, everyone. We are now aware of the framework, standards, and competencies of Filipino children. How do we know if a child has developed these competencies? How do we monitor the child's development?
The objective of this training program is to identify the unique features of the different kindergarten education programs and the nature of the different learning modalities. In monitoring the child's development, we observe and note specific ways a child plays, learns, speaks, acts, and moves every day in an ongoing way. Development monitoring often motivates tracking a child's development using a checklist of developmental milestones. The purposes of child development and monitoring are to determine the child's skills development and performance across the different domains: the fine motor domain, gross motor domain, receptive language, expressive language, cognitive, self-help, and social emotional domains. Who are responsible to monitor the child's development? Of course, they are the teachers and learning facilitators. They must employ various methods to further determine the child's needed educational intervention. Child's development is being monitored by giving formative assessment through recording of direct account of child's behavior, interview of parents, caregivers, or facilitators. Observation throughout the blocks of time, observation of learning process, routine and child's participation in an activity from arrival time to meeting time 3, discussion with learners, and learner's personal evaluation of his or her output. Assessment is the process of gathering and discussing information from multiple and diverse sources in order to develop a deep understanding of what learners know, understand, and can do with their knowledge. In kindergarten, qualitative or non-numerical grading is used in measuring performance, tracking development of 5-year-old child vis-a-vis expected learning outcomes must be conducted while learning is happening. In a natural setting, daily engagement with class activities during play, and this should be ongoing and well planned. Assessment information reporting helps teachers understand individual strengths and weaknesses, and it leads to identification of possible learning difficulties and disabilities and facilitates planning for early intervention. Classroom assessment is an ongoing process of identifying, gathering, organizing, interpreting through quantitative and qualitative data. As the learners perform their daily routine, they manifest level of independence, ability to manage oneself during transitions. This could be observed by the teacher throughout the different blocks of time. First is the arrival time, period of individual, peer, or group exploration of the different play areas or activity centers in the classroom. Different areas in the classroom are the circle area, play area, audio-visual area, reading area, dramatic area, and storytelling area. Fine motor skills such as scribbling, drawing, building with blocks, molding figures using modeling clay are being developed. Also, the language literacy and communication skills such as polite expressions as well as social-emotional skills such as autonomy, working with others, and self-regulation. Meeting time 1 is the first whole group activity. Teacher can sit with the children in a circle or semicircle. Prayer, checking of attendance, day, month, and year update, weather update, news update, class job are the activities during meeting time 1. It provides children to share their experiences, tells news about home, school, and environment, engage in conversation, sing songs or recite poems and rhymes, and teaching children how to take turns talking and listening to each other. Work period 1, small group activities, where teacher-supervised and independent activities are conducted. Children are given the opportunity to explore different media and work on different tasks in a small group. Activities may include use of materials for manipulation, hands-on, and construction that can develop various skills. Examples of teacher-supervised activities: people puppets, classroom map, birthday chart, age chart, balangkas ng katawan, census chart, alphabet poster, my book of colors, and boy and girl chart. Independent activities. During independent activities, simple activities are given to pupils. Teacher gives instruction and let children work on their own. Examples of independent activities: fishing game, letter bingo, letter tracing, matching game, serration game, sorting game, Play-Doh, letter domino, string beads, letter lotto, picture puzzles, body puzzles, letter hunting, alphabet board game, and picture sound match. Meeting time 2, preparing learners for their snacks. Washing of hands and prayer before and after eating are taught to learners. Supervised recess or snack time. The teacher sees to it that good table manners are being practiced. Quiet time. During this time, children can rest and engage in relaxing activities while listening to soft music. Stories, rhymes, poems, songs. These are teacher-guided interactive read-aloud activities for stories, rhymes, poems, and songs. Work period 2 focuses on numeracy or mathematics. Just like in work period 1, learners are divided for teacher-supervised activity and independent activities. Indoor-outdoor activities. Activities include sports, simple athletics, movement activities, and outdoor games. Meeting time 3. Children are given time to pack away. Teacher synthesizes the children's learning experiences. Reminders and learning extensions are also given during this period. Progress report, qualitative rating, and promotion. How do we measure the abilities of a child? How do we inform the persons concerned, especially the parents, about their child's performance? How is assessment information reported? A progress report will be provided by the teacher to the parents at the end of every quarter. Overall performance on the learning, such as portfolios, checklists, and teachers' observation will be summarized in the progress report. The progress report contains a cluster of representative skills such as health, well-being and motor development, socio-emotional development, language, literacy and communication, listening and viewing, speaking, reading, writing, mathematics or numeracy, understanding the physical and natural environment. Qualitative ratings shall be used in the progress report instead of numerical ratings because these are more appropriate to the age and development of kindergarten learners. Before beginning, the indicators are the following: rarely demonstrates the expected competency, rarely participates in class activities and or initiates independent works, shows interest in doing tasks but needs close supervision. D for developing. Indicators sometimes demonstrates the competency, sometimes participates minimal supervision, progress continuously in doing assigned tasks. C, consistent. Indicators always demonstrates the expected competency, always participates in the different activities and works independently, always performs tasks advanced in some aspects. Quarterly parent-teacher conferences are opportune time to discuss with the parents or guardian the learner's achievement and progress over the course of 10 weeks. Teachers are encouraged to celebrate the significant achievements by giving certificates of recognition or teacher-made ribbons every quarter. At the end of the year, evident abilities or positive traits and attitudes are given recognition. The Philippine Early Childhood Checklist. What is the Philippine ECD Checklist or the Philippine Early Childhood Development Checklist? The Philippine Early Childhood Development Checklist is a standardized tool that contains knowledge, skills, attitudes of children 3.1 to 5.11 years old. The checklist is not intended to be used to make a medical diagnosis or determine a child's intelligence quotient or gauge his academic achievement. It is only the first of several steps in a comprehensive assessment process that a child at risk is expected to go through so he can get the help he needs as early as possible. The ECD checklist contains 7 domains. Gross motor. Here, children learn to use the big muscle groups of their body. Crawling, walking, jumping, climbing are all examples of this. Fine motor. Learning hand-eye coordination is the focus here. Pupils learn how to control precise muscle movement in their hands to build fine motor skills. Coloring, cutting with scissors, tearing paper are all activities which reinforce this development. Self-help. In this domain, children begin to show a little independence and learn how to take care of themselves. Learning to dress and eat on their own, how to tie their own shoes, and brush their own teeth are all examples of becoming less dependent on parents or guardian. Receptive language refers to how a child understands language, while expressive language refers to how a child uses words to express himself or herself. Cognitive. Children learn cause and effect and reasoning here, as well as early math skills and counting. Social emotional. Learning to play with others is a skill that is taught. Making sure a child feels safe and nurtured is part of this development, as is using manners and modeling kind behavior. Why do we conduct the assessment? We conduct the assessment to ensure the best possible start in the child's school life, to identify the child's total developmental needs so timely response or intervention can be made, and to encourage further cooperation and partnership on the implementation of educational and developmental program of the Department of Education and other implementing government offices and agencies. Testing considerations. Physical conditions. The checklist can be administered in a setting familiar to the respondents. Ideally, the place should be relatively quiet, well lighted and ventilated, and have a table and chairs to provide comfortable conditions for the respondents and examiner. If conducted outdoors and there is no table, any flat work surface will suffice. Standard procedures. The examiner can employ various methods to determine if the child exhibits specified behavior. These include observation, direct elicitation of the behavior from the child, and also interview of the parents or caregivers. When interviewing the parents or caregivers, the examiner may wish to use the opportunity to ask them what activities they do at home to stimulate the development of their child. Their responses can be recorded on a separate sheet. Administration time. Each form of the revised ECD checklist should not take more than 45 minutes to administer. Fundamentals in administration. Rapport building. Rapport building is very important, especially when the child is not familiar with the examiner. So be sure to spend a few minutes interacting with the child by playing or chatting with him. It may help when the items which involve interviewing the parents or caregiver are administered first with the child nearby. This will make him realize that the examiner is kind, caring person and facilitate rapport building process. The examiner must emphasize that there are neither right or wrong answers, nor good or bad scores. This will assure greater accuracy in what parents or caregivers report and decrease the incidence of a child's giving an answer based on what the others in the group have said. The examiner must refrain from teaching the correct answer because this checklist is intended to be given to the same child at a later point in time. If the child has taught the answer, it will be difficult to determine if his success was due to this or to his expected maturation. Answers that do not seem to exactly correspond to the intent of an item are to be written in the comments column of the tool. These can serve as reference points of a child's progress when the checklist is administered to him again at a later date. Who should administer the tool? It should be administered by trained teachers, typically kindergarten teachers, school administrators, child development experts and workers, and those who have undergone training on early childhood care and development. Take note that summary of results of Philippine Early Childhood Development Assessment shall be submitted to the school head. Promotion and other action. A learner may be considered for possible retention if he or she has incurred absences of more than 20% of the prescribed number of hours during the school year. For example, there are 10 weeks in a quarter. What is 20% of one quarter? Attendance monitoring happens every day on the whole quarter. So for learners who may be considered as pardos or pupils at risk of dropping out, the teacher and school head has the whole quarter to find the reasons and possible ways to avoid that 20% absences. Therefore, in one school year, you are given 4 quarters, 40 weeks, to address the problem of absences and dropping out. Now, granted that the 20% absences were incurred, reasons shall be pointed out, discussed by parents, teachers, and school head, and decision shall be based on the following. The school head may, at his or her discretion, after looking into the individual's case, exempt a learner who exceeds the 20% limit for reasons considered unacceptable to the school as stipulated in DepEd Order No. 8, Series of 2015.
Always remember, every decision and every discretion attached to our specific roles and functions determines the future of a child. All efforts must be done for the best interest of the child. Thank you so much. This is Nanette Florea Fandinola, Certified Kindergarten Teacher. Today, tomorrow, and for life. Keep safe, everyone.